going on? It's the Big Rig Bull, Texas truck accident lawyer Reshard Alexander, here again on a Saturday afternoon. Happy Juneteenth to you. You'll see this tomorrow, of course, but happy Juneteenth anyways. I wasn't able to make it out to the parade because I have to work. But today's topic is going to be about the business of trucking. I probably should have covered this topic at the very beginning because it makes the most sense. So today I haven't decided what I'm going to cover as far as a trucking or commercial vehicle topic, but I am pretty close to cleaning everything out of here. I got a stack of books all over the floor and everything, but for the most part I just have a coffee stand and a table and some chairs to move today, and I think that'll be it. I'm gonna move that file cabinet, those file cabinets, that refrigerator, table, and a coffee stand, and these chairs, and I'll come back tomorrow and gather these books up and stuff like that. I'm using my smaller camera today. I didn't feel like lugging around the much bigger one, and I'm kind of tired, so I'm not gonna really edit this too deeply. I went back and saw I had made an error in the last vlog where I did the intro like 2 times, but oh well, you know, I mean, at least I'm putting out content. That's what matters. So I'm not focused on trying to be perfect at this point anymore. I'm just really trying to put out content and get comfortable behind the camera or in front of the camera. Well, to move this won't take very much time at all, but I gotta go in there and shoot that. I want to call it a CLE, but it's not a CLE. I mean, because you're not getting credit for watching that, and so I don't want to mislead people thinking that it's a CLE. I only call it a CLE simply because of the fact that, I mean, that's what it feels like for me. I'm going in there and teaching myself, continuing to learn and educate myself. Yeah, I had a few friends reach out to me and ask me whether I needed some help moving, but the reality of it is that this isn't a lot of furniture, man, and I'm just moving downstairs, so I mean, how much help do you really need to move downstairs, you know? I really just want to push all this stuff on the floor, but that's not civilized, and I'm very civilized. Yeah, that's all I need in the back office is a dry erase board. But I have this in here too. I'm going to put this in there. Yeah, you see it. You see it. You see it. Because I'm the Texas truck accident lawyer. I ain't the Houston truck accident lawyer. Don't get it confused. So, you may have many questions about that, I'm sure, if you know me. I still am a Celtics fan, but, you know, I've come to embrace the fact that Texas is my home. And this is the place where I'm going to die. I'm going to live here, I'm going to die here. You know? And I like the Spurs. Partly because of like what I was talking about yesterday is that they know how to design like systematic. I mean, they know how to design dynasties, man. And maybe they may not have another dynasty anytime soon, but that organization has been well run since like the days of Sean Elliott and Rod Strickland. You know what I mean? Like, I follow basketball. You know, I can never get behind like franchises, at least basketball franchises, that they're just like, they don't handle their business. like the Rockets, man. I ain't trying to knock the Rockets because I know y'all. That's a sensitive spot for people here in Houston for sure. But the Rockets, I mean, I really just don't see how anybody thought that they were going to go anywhere. Because it's just like Kobe said. You know, you're not going to win a championship with that style of play, that type of offense, that ISO basketball bullcrap. You know, and that's no disrespect to James Harden, but the plays that they run and that stuff, I mean, they just don't seem to really utilize the guys as effective as they can be. And I know people will say, oh, well, what are you talking about? Look at the regular season record and whatnot. But, I mean, the regular season is one thing. The playoffs is a totally different animal. You know, some of those wins, you're going to win simply because the other team is going to give up. They like, hey, man, we'll get them next time. But in the playoffs, it's something totally different. Every game counts. And you got to have a team that can last all the way through. Yeah, so it looks like I've moved everything down here for the most part. I got to come back, grab my books and everything from upstairs tomorrow. I wish I had some boxes, man, but it is what it is, you know. It doesn't stop. So I got everything down here for the most part, and I'll be back tomorrow. And this is it for this little portion right here. I'm moving on. All right, so today is concluding, and I am going to start this latest review of the business of trucking. Because I don't think I really covered too much of the actual business behind trucking before I really went into all these different tangents about commercial motor vehicle law. So today I want to basically cover the motor carrier, owner, operator, and situations involving operating authority. Okay, so what we need to understand here is that the business of trucking obviously is driven largely by the FMCSRs, but the motor carrier is the main item in all of this when it comes to transporting things on our highways and through interstate commerce. Now, I'll take a break for a quick second to say, please excuse the fact that this is not well lit. I am moving. And so I took my lights and everything downstairs already, so I don't have any of that up here. But what I will say is this, okay? So getting back to the motor carrier. So what is a motor carrier? Okay, well, a motor carrier is an entity that transports people or commodities in interstate commerce or in commerce, right? So what I mean by that is they transport either people or goods, commodities, things, you know, that we use. A motor carrier is charged with hiring, monitoring, dispatching, maintenance of equipment, and adhering to the regulations. Regardless of who they hire, whether it's an owner-operator or they have their own fleet, they are still in charge of all of these things when it comes to regulating how goods and people are transported in commerce. So there are two categories of motor carriers. There are private and there's for-hire authority, okay? Now, for-hire authority basically just means that you're hired out for compensation. You know, you will transport goods or commodities for compensation for another entity, okay? Private authority means that you have your own goods, you got your own stuff, you don't need anyone telling you what to do because you're going to move your own stuff up and down the highway. An example of that would be Walmart. Walmart has their own trucking motor carrier authority on freight line. Amazon, I believe, is slowly gathering up their own freight line as well. I'm not exactly sure. You see the Amazon Prime trucks, but I don't know if they actually have operating authority yet. They're taking away their business from XPO Logistics. So as I said before in one of the previous vlogs, I'm going to start following a lot more of those companies like that because I'm really interested in seeing how that is going to affect XPO logistics over here in our area, because that's a well, it may not be Houston based, but they have a lot of trucks here in Houston, and we want our businesses to stay in business here in Houston because it's good for the economy. Jumping back on subject though, so we'll get to operating authority now. Okay, so operating authority is basically what it says. It's your ability to be able to transport goods and services as a motor carrier. How you will know that this person has operating authority is that the Department of Transportation will give them a number, like a barcode almost, that signifies the identity of the company and its fleet and vehicle ownership. Okay? They're going to be granted the ability to transport specific operating and cargo classifications, meaning they're going to tell them, hey, you can take this down the road, and you can take hazardous materials down the road, and you can take metal coils down the road. But you might not be able to take this, or you may not be able to take over a certain amount. Okay. It also, like I said, it will limit the carrying commodities of a motor carrier, and a motor carrier can be authorized for private authority or for hire. So I'm sorry. Let me go back. Not or, they can be private authority and for hire. So it's possible for them to have private authority to be able to transport their own goods, while also being for hire and being able to transport other companies' goods as well in interstate or in commerce. After they are giving the operating authority and the DOT number and everything like that, what will happen after that will be a safety audit that will take place, where a DOT inspector will come to the facility and conduct a safety audit on that particular motor carrier. Now, this new operating authority for the motor carrier will be monitored by the FMCSA for 18 months regarding their inspection information after they have received the initial operating authority. And the motor carrier must file the motor carrier identification report every 24 months after initial authorization. Okay? The way you can pretty much tell if they have operating authority, you see an 18-wheeler or anything else on the road, the motor carrier is going to mark their vehicles with the company name and the DOT number, usually on the truck driver's door or somewhere in that vicinity. It can be on different places depending on the type of vehicle, but you see a lot of them on the doors and whatnot. Okay, getting to owner operators and lease agreements. Okay, so what is an owner-operator? Because I've been getting contacted on Instagram by, I think, a lot of different owner-operators. So let's talk about that for a second. Owner-operators are, it's an independent business that may operate, number one, under its own operating authority, or they can sign to an agreement with a motor carrier to transport freight under the motor carrier's operating authority. So an owner-operator is an independent business that may operate under its own operating authority, or it can sign an agreement with a motor carrier to transport freight under the motor carrier's operating authority as well. Okay? Now, if it's operating under the banner of another operating authority, of another motor carrier, that means the operating owner is subject to all the regulations of that company's drivers. So if they have stricter inside regulations of their company that they make all their drivers adhere to, that owner-operator is going to have to adhere to the same regulations that motor carrier has for its other drivers. Now, why do motor carriers choose to employ owner-operators? The answer is really simple. It's a cost-cutting technique. Instead of them having to go out here and hire more drivers, instead of them having to purchase more trucks, they can simply hire someone who already has all that together and sign a contract with them and send them down the road. Now, the thing is, though, although owner-operators do own their own trucks, motor carriers are still responsible for the maintenance and fitness of that commercial motor vehicle. Even though it's not theirs, they are still on the line or on the hook if something goes wrong on the road regarding that particular commercial motor vehicle. Now, the only other thing I wanted to cover really briefly is that an owner-operator can have various lease agreements with different motor carriers, and they can have them all at the same time. So, I don't know if you can see this, but over here, I have listed 4 motor carriers and 1 owner-operator. Now, this 1 owner-operator can have, like I said, 4 different agreements. One could be full-time, one could be full-time, part-time, 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 and they could have different lengths as far as where they're going to drive, when it's going to end, when are they relieved of duty. And the thing about it is, it's all about the scope of the contract. So if you're an owner-operator, obviously you want to have someone who is knowledgeable about the trucking industry review your contracts and examine them and make sure that they will relieve you of as much responsibility if something goes wrong as possible. Obviously, the motor carrier is looking to do the same thing on the flip side of it. Because the best situations for the motor carrier is going to state somewhere along in the contract, or it's going to be driven by this key language that the driver is not acting on behalf of the carrier when. The driver is not acting on behalf of the carrier when they are not behind the vehicle, of that commercial motor vehicle. A lot of them will relieve you of duty when you drop off the load. But as I said before, if you're an owner-operator, you need to make sure you're dealing with someone who can help you review these contracts and make sure you're not getting the short end of the stick. Because what's happening here in America right now is we're dealing with a situation where you can obviously see that the larger motor carriers are starting to really dominate the trucking workplace. And when you're dealing with such a powerful entity like that, they can really kind of bully around everyone else just because of the money and the power and everything else that they have. So if you have any questions about any of this, feel free to reach out to me. Instagram is probably not the best way. Some people have been contacting me like that, but it would be probably better to just call me and leave a message if I'm not in right now, because I'm in and out of the office right now. I'm moving. I have pretty much moved everything down stairs. I just have my books and everything still there. So I'll try to come back tomorrow and grab all that and get that going. And I will give you another review on a trucking topic tomorrow. So this is the Big Rig Bull, Texas truck accident lawyer Reshard Alexander. You take it easy and have a blessed day.
Keep on searching for the heart I cannot find. No matter how long I'm going, I feel there's only one I'm like. So maybe I'll keep on pushing myself back into the light. Cause I need her love, I need all her love. We had a river that was rolling, but then the waves came crashing down. And maybe I was too controlling, but I was nearly about to drown. Come on, forgive me, baby, cause I need you now. I need all your love, I need all your love. Come back, I need you like before. If I come, will you let me through the door? Who knows if I make it work for sure. But I found, yes I found, you are the cure. Yes I found, you are the cure. I keep on fighting for this love I'm falling for. No matter how long I'm going, I feel I'll catch you like before.